MR.KOA.
We need to talk.
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 Welcome back to Wntt TV. I'm your host, MR.KOA, alongside
Top Boy.
And we're back for another week. Snow just hit, December 2nd.
Again.
Damn, snow, man.
Dude, you notice how we had like a mini fall?
Yeah.
Like it was winter came. Winter came, there was no fall.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, it's winter now. Fall showed up, said hi.
Yeah.
And now winter's like, all right, leave. I'm back.
It's like a deadbeat dad, you know?
It's trash.
He just,
It's deadbeat dad. Wow.
just came in to say, how you doing, son? But you know, gotta go again.
It's ridiculous.
Until
It's
next
silly.
year.
So dumb.
Yeah, no, we had some interesting questions to talk about that we didn't get to talk about last week.
Yeah.
I guess what we can start with is Christmas growing up as a child is very different in many different households.
Yeah.
We're about 23 days away from Christmas right now as we're recording. But yeah, like what is your take on old Saint Nick, Santa?
Santa Claus?
Santa.
I'll be honest, like when I was growing up as a kid, at least I don't remember having a moment where I said to myself,
This guy's real?
I believe in Santa Claus. And I think it was because it was a combination of me being a little too bright for my age at the time, and also my parents just not feeding me that narrative.
No.
They're like, Santa Claus is real.
I think it's pretty common in like probably like mostly immigrant homes, especially that they don't really believe in Santa Claus. This is essentially because most immigrants that move here and raise their children, especially people of color, they really work hard. A lot of them work hard, and the concept of lying to your kids about this man in a red suit who comes down the chimney and gives you presents doesn't sound as personally beneficial than letting your kids know I work very hard to put food on this table and get you guys gifts for Christmas. So I never believed in Santa. My parents never, told me about Santa. Obviously, I read about him in school. You see him, like someone was saying, I also was a pretty bright kid as growing up. And for me, for the most part of my, childhood, I lived in a lot of apartment buildings or high rises. And that already threw that concept of the window of a man coming down the chimney. So there's a lot of questions, a lot of unanswered questions about this guy. And then, the story they say of him flying around in reindeer in a sled, like, come on. Come on, enough. But there are actual kids that their parents have really embedded in them that this is a real thing.
Yeah.
Is this unhealthy? Like, I'm actually curious. Like, I don't know because I've never experienced it, but I know there are kids that really believe in it, and there are some parents that are like, no, don't let them know Santa's real. Like, so not real. Like, I've seen kids crying. Like, there's actually
I don't think it's necessarily. It's not the worst thing for them to believe in, right? Like, I don't think it's incredibly unhealthy. I just think that, it gets to a certain point. Like, if you grow up and you're still acting like this is a real thing, that's when it's a problem, right? But I have no issue with, a child, like, believing in Santa Claus.
Right.
But it becomes a problem when I just think, they have no real concept of what real life is like.
Right.
And that's up to the parent. Like, the parent at some point is gonna, like, for me, I remember at some point always hearing about Santa Claus. And at some point, it just clicked in my own head. My parents didn't have to tell me. I just I put two and two together, and I said,
this is whack.
I'm like, yeah, this is not real. This is not real, but it is what it is. I understand why some people do it. I can't see myself saying to, like, my wife, we have to preserve this. You know what I mean? I think the reason why it's done, like parents do it for their children, is to preserve some sort of innocence with their child, right? Which I totally respect. But I don't know what the cutoff age is. But at some point, it's...
Like, do you just do it until they figure it out? Is that kind of the thing?
I think you do it
until one day your kid's like, Mom.
No.
Like,
I think you.
Mom.
I think you do
stop.
it. I think
Mom, please.
I think you do it until you don't care to keep up the charade anymore.
Yeah, but when do you not care?
I think,
Like,
look, Ryan, I think
if parents
honestly,
can ride it out, I think they'd
Ryan,
ride it.
I think honestly, I would be able to ride it out for a solid 2-3 years.
Like 3-year-old? Like
2-3 Christmases, and then the 4th year, I'm like, I'm not standing in line at Square One,
Yeah.
Showa Gardens with all these other kids to sit on some. Nah,
Yeah.
we're not doing that. You saw Santa eating in the food court like 20 minutes ago. That's not happening. You know what I mean?
funny.
So I think it comes
Fair.
down to how long the parent wants to hold down that lie. 'Cause that's what it is.
It's almost like parents that keep their kids in strollers till they're 9 years old. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves.
We're gonna talk about that. That's totally different. That's totally different.
That cheeses me so much.
I've seen
The kids their feet are dragging on the ground.
They're
Your kid
big.
he can stand.
They're big.
Like, why are you pushing him in the stroller?
These kids are like playing on a Nintendo DS or Switch
God.
or whatever it is. iPad
what
being
is
pushed
that
around.
with parents like that?
And I don't understand. I genuinely don't understand it. I don't have a kid. I don't have a child, so
Yeah.
I can't necessarily empathize with this, because even if I try to understand what it's like to have a kid that might be a handful,
Mm-hmm.
all I can revert back to is my own experiences where I didn't even have a chance to be a handful because my parents didn't let that
Yeah,
happen.
that's
You know what I
true.
mean? It's
That's
like
true.
any point I acted out, my dad was just like, nah.
I feel like it might be
happening.
like an attachment thing, where like parents just don't want to lose that
Yeah.
innocence of having a child.
I could see that.
Like, there's some parents that they refer to their children as 86 months old, right? Rather than just how old they are.
Oh my God.
Right? There's parents that like try and keep the
86 months old.
as long as they can.
What are you doing?
Like, but it's again, we can't really speak on parenthood, but there are some things that are just universally incorrect. I
Yeah.
feel.
Okay, so I have another, something I want to bring up. I saw a recent discussion where it was talking about successful women and dating in relationships, right? And I think we can both agree that for women who are very successful in their field, it might be tough for them at times to date, because of how there are some men who have egos, right? And they don't want to date a woman that's more successful than them, right? We've talked about this before. That's not something that would ever bother us, but it's definitely something that seems to bother some men. Now, the topic of discussion was...
You have a hair in your beard, sir.
Over here?
No, I just...
I'll get rid of it later. Anyway, the topic of discussion was basically this woman was upset that she has to date down because she's very successful.
Right.
Right? And she doesn't feel like she has to compromise. Now,
You have to get
it's
rid of
bothering
that.
me now. And now basically, the argument is a lot of men have to do this all the time.
Yeah. This is true.
Wow, okay, I want to hear your opinion on this. So I was seeing both sides of it, because I understand, you've worked hard for what it is that you want to get. There's some things you just don't want to compromise on. I totally get that. So I would understand as a man where you would say, I refuse to date this person because they are not at maybe the same stature in life as me. They're not doing the same things. They're not the same caliber. So I can understand that.
Right.
But why do I feel like when a man says something like that, is usually taken very negative?
Versus when a woman says something like that?
Yeah. Because when the woman said this, it didn't seem like people were attacking her the same way that they would attack a man. Like if I
I get what you're saying.
if I was very successful, like crazy successful, and I said, "Oh, I'm not dating you. Like you're not even you can't hang with me. You're not in the same tax bracket, right?" I feel like some people might look at that like, "Okay, I get that," and others would say, "Wow, he might be like kind of a douche for saying that."
Well, we're still in somewhat of an age of, patriarchy. Sorry, not patriarchy. What's the word?
Is it not a patriarchy?
No, chivalry. Sorry, chivalry. So we still view things, as the man and the woman and the protector and the provider. And all. We still have that underlying in some. It's improved, of course. Women have great jobs and the quality is increasing and stuff like that. But there still has like this underlying thing where like the man is the provider, the woman, you know, is the nurturer, and that this, it's still, I don't know if it's ever gonna go away, to be honest. It's kind of like just the way we've been, you know, society has raised us. You know, no matter how successful a woman gets, no matter how, you know, successful a man gets, we still bring it back to the basis of like, she can be successful, but a man has to do, he has to do to take care of a household, regardless, right? It's just kind of the thing. But so I feel like when a woman says she doesn't want to date down, it's not really viewed as big of a thing because we already have the expectation that the woman shouldn't have to do that. Right? Like a woman should be equal, like she should hold her own, but it's almost like we can both make the same amount of money. But I still have this role to still do more because I'm a man. Like literally just because you're a man. That's kind of just been the thing that we've just accepted. You know? And then there's been situations where it's like, okay, if the woman does make more than you, you now have to do more things to be that man that she wants because she makes more money than you. Right? So we almost have to constantly overcompensate to, you know, fulfill this role of the man that society has created, right? When it's in reverse, if a woman makes less than the man, no one cares,
no one's
because it's kind of like, well, that's normal, right? So we still haven't really adjusted to the concept of, you know, there are many successful women that are doing much better than their husbands or their boyfriends or whatever, but it's not talked about. It's kind of like a, you know, shunned discussion where it's kind of like, you know, but I love him. Like, no, and even women almost feel embarrassed to talk to their girls about their man if they don't feel their man is as successful. Like, they don't even really talk about it. Just like, oh, what's your man do? Oh, you know, he's working on some stuff, whatever. But they never ever go too deep, especially when they know the real financial situation. No woman ever brags that like, I take care of my man. It's never been a thing.
I think that goes back to when we were talking a few weeks ago about like men opening up about their emotions, right? And the question from that is, you know, what does that look like to women? Like, if I open up to you, how do you react to it? Do you even know how to properly respond to that type of stuff? So it's interesting because I also watched another interview, and it was feminists against men's rights activists, right? Which sounds kind of weird to say. Men's rights activists, right? So
I mean, we have rights.
Yeah.
too,
So obviously, I watched it. I watched it because I'm trying to understand
what's happening.
Right? I think, and this is my opinion. When you hear the word feminist, I think, unfortunately, there's like this narrative being pushed where if you hear someone's a feminist, you think automatically they dislike men.
Right, they're just mad.
I think that's an unfair narrative that they're receiving, unfortunately, because there's just a lot of loud people sometimes, right? And then when I heard men's rights activists, I'm like, what do you...
Like, who are these guys?
Yeah, I'm like, what are you guys fighting for here? Because I know as a man, there's just some things that I automatically have an advantage over,
right?
And then there's some things I don't, right? So I'm like, what are you trying to fight for here? And it was interesting because what it came down to was these guys felt like their logic to me was just super, super off.
Okay.
Like, it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
So the women that were on the show, it was 2 black women, and I think one maybe Hispanic, or she might have been like Native. And the women were basically just saying, look, we're feminists, but we don't hate men. You know, like, this one girl's like, most of my best friends are men. Like, they're my boys. We're feminists because we just want you guys to basically validate some of the things that we're saying.
Right.
You know, if I tell you I have an experience with something, it's not just a one-off. Like, I promise you, it's something that most women go through.
Right.
She said, for example, the fact that I have to consciously think about what I wear before I leave the house so that it doesn't
offend certain people
or draw like
your attention. Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, what if it's hot and I want to wear a skirt? I might not be able to wear a skirt because I know
because of you.
Because some men are just going to try and hit me up. Right? And the biggest thing she said was the entitlement that some men feel. So it's like, if I ask a girl for a number, if I ask a girl for a number and she says no, because we're rational and logical human
you're
beings,
like,
I'm gonna be like, okay.
But there are men that.
But there are some men who are gonna take offense to the fact that they've just been told no.
Mm-hmm.
And the weird thing was, when I was watching these guys listen to what these women were saying, I could tell that
Like, it's the first time you're hearing stuff like this?
it wasn't just that. It was the fact that I generally felt like they never had a lot of conversation with women. Because their body language told me that they were like uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That women were saying these things to them that were totally valid, and they just didn't know how to react.
Yeah.
And literally the only thing that I heard from the men's rights activists, which the women agreed with, that made sense to me was when they're talking about some of the unfair biasness that happens in like parental court, right? So like divorce court and that type of stuff.
Women win because of the women.
Yeah.
Like, there are certain things that,
Right? So, and the women agree with that. They're saying, of course.
Like, there are great fathers, but because you're a single father, so.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in those regards, I understood where they were coming from. But for the most part, I'm like, what are you really trying to fight for here? You know, and it's very interesting to me. Like, what do you think of the feminist versus men's rights?
Again, like you're saying, I feel like the feminist term has really been dragged through the mud because of, a few, women that go above and beyond and sometimes abuse it a little, which kind of has ruined it for the majority of women who are really just fighting for equality.
Yeah.
So now there's, like, in most cases, even if you talk to someone, a stranger, and someone says proudly, "I'm a feminist," you're already like, ugh. Like, you're like, what comes with you, like, right? And that's it shouldn't that shouldn't be your first response, but it's just what comes with it. It becomes like, it's an angry woman, right? The feminist has become the angry woman.
Yes.
And I mean, yes, they are angry because there are things to be angry about, like, choice and, equality and wage and all that stuff. So yes, there are reasons to be angry. But what we're missing is kind of like, people don't like feminists because they don't want things to be different.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the people that actually don't like the feminists, they don't really, it's not that they don't like them, it's they don't want to have the discussion about change because they're not actually willing to make that change.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to talk to someone that's going to keep telling me to stop being racist.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what if I was like a racist activist?
Yeah.
And then someone's like, "Oh, hey, who are you?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm a racist activist." And like, you're a white guy and you're racist. Or you're like, "Oh, man, like, I don't want to talk to this guy." Like, because it's like, there's a problem.
Yeah.
And this person's an activist for it. You're like, now I have to have this discussion. Like, now I have to talk about your rights and choice. Then you're turned off by the conversation, not the actual term of being a feminist.
Yeah.
We avoid solution so much that we just label it with anger or crazy to just like, oh, feminists, they're crazy. It's like, well, what are they actually talking about? Rights, money, choice. Like,
that doesn't seem that crazy to me.
It's like, what? Why are you mad about this though?
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm mad because I don't get to push my ideologies on you, right?
Yeah.
Many, not all, but many men like when they're able to manipulate. And if a woman openly and strongly says, "I'm a feminist," a guy automatically knows,
I can't push you around.
I can't.
Yeah,
Like,
I can't push you
I'm
around.
not talking to your feminist. Like, what? Like, that's basically me saying, like, I know I can't control you, so let's just not do this.
Yeah.
Like,
But you
right?
know what? So when I watched this interview, I talked to my girl after, because I'm analyzing these guys, right? And based on their logic, like, a lot of these men genuinely, in their heart of hearts, believe that it's not that men and women aren't equal. They literally believe that women are beneath men, right? Like, I understand, like, look, I understand that men and women, I'm for equality. I understand that we're not equal in certain regards, right? Like, you can say the obvious, like the physical stuff, the fact that we can't bear children. There's things we're just not equal in. That being said, if I was to apply that group of men, their mindset, I genuinely feel like a lot of these men couldn't say anything or act the way that they do because they're not alphas. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's so that's such an extreme, like, way of thinking about it. But if I'm listening to a man, like, talk this way to certain women, I would look at him and be like, bro, you'd be at the bottom of the totem pole.
Yeah.
Of all these men. So
you better expect. I'm expecting you to be like the guy.
You know what I mean? It's like if
yeah.
if you want things to go back to that way, we're okay. We can do that, but you're gonna have to hold this out because like I'm looking at you, and there's certain things about you that let me know that you might be a little insecure, like blah blah. You see how toxic and like crazy that all starts to seem?
Yeah.
It's like they want to selectively. And that's the thing in life. Like some people want to selectively pick what things that they want
and what applies
when they want it to. And it's like, nah, if you want things to work,
it's like religion.
Yeah, no,
it's like religion.
It's exactly the same way.
People follow things, but I don't want to follow that completely.
Yeah.
Like I don't want. Oh, but this, don't do that. It's like okay, right? So I mean, we're in a very you talked about this already. We're in a very sticky, sensitive era.
Yeah.
Where you say the wrong thing and you're fired. You do the wrong thing and someone breaks up with you. You act a certain way and people are no longer your friend anymore. Like it's just, it's very extreme, decisions that are happening from any type of choice you make.
Yeah.
So when it comes to men and women, we're obviously gonna have this conversation forever because, there is no actual solution. The only really solution is like, as long as we have the same amount of access, what comes from that is on the table, right? It's not. I don't think it should be shifted where now we're overcompensating for women to be like, okay, let's get some more women in here so they feel like it shouldn't be one of those things where it's like, okay, we only have 2 women in here.
Affirmative
let's go
action,
hire some women. Like it shouldn't. That's not the solution. It shouldn't be like, because he's a man, because he's a woman, we'll pick the man because he's stronger. Like no, it should be like these are the jobs, these are the access, these are the rights. Everyone has access. Perform, and then you choose based on performance.
Yeah.
That way, it's like if we both are in the same room, I'm in the room with the woman, you're in the room with the woman, for example, and we're all in here for a job.
Yeah.
If you don't label any of our papers, for example, and we all submit things, you just pick based on the quality that you've received, right? But it's not that way. It's like we have these in-person interviews, we have these conversations where people have these own personal biases, where how many times people have gotten jobs that don't have qualifications? I'm sure you have friends that are in positions that are like, I just got here because I knew someone, like, right? We have to get away from the, easy entry of things and kind of make the playing field level. Like it's not about just giving everyone equal money. Or it's just, if you give the opportunity the same, that just goes for race, for everything. If the opportunity is there, if it just turns out that more white people are good at something, then like there's no conversation.
Yeah, it's just that's what
just what it is. But I'm sure that's not the case.
Yeah.
If the access was as equal for certain things.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I mean it's such a draining and conversation we have to continually have because it's not really gonna change until people really start pushing back.
Like what do you think? Like what would it take for this conversation to just not happen anymore, essentially? What would need to happen?
Honestly, like, I don't know if it will ever happen.
Yeah.
But if there is some way that, the richest people that are in, let's say, each country, the richest Canadian, the richest American, whatever, if the richest people had some type of initiative where they're like, okay, I'm gonna put this amount of money into a project which, enforces inclusion, let's say.
Okay.
And this is not run by the government. Yeah. Because this, like, for this stuff to happen, it has to be a very private act. Because once it becomes governed by the government, then there's biases in it, and then it has to be like the richest people use their own personal finances from each country and says, every country has this initiative for inclusion, for women, for race, for age, whatever, gender, etc. And whatever this looks like, I don't know what it looks like, but whatever it looks like, basically, when it's not run by the government, there's no excuse for why something can't be done. Yeah. Right? If I'm a billionaire and someone's like, oh, the only way to get this venue is if it's not 100,000, get it done. Right? So it has to be completely governed by that person, and really just allow people to, anonymously show and provide their skill sets, and kind of have some type of management system to kind of, section everyone's skill sets.
Yeah.
Regardless of race, gender, sex, sexuality, whatever, and then literally just see if that actually breeds any type of difference in our economy, right? Because if you look at the current jobs right now, all the doctors, all the lawyers, whatever, if you look at the demographic of them, it's very skewed, right? Like certain lawyers are majority white, and certain doctors, it's very skewed. It's not necessarily accurate to what's represented by Canada, and we're so multicultural. So if we did that would have to be almost some of a realistic science experiment to kind of see what is actually in this country for what it is if there was no bias.
Yeah.
And then if we can compare that to each field to really see what Canada actually represents if there was no bias on opportunity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that.
But it has to be governed by the person and not by the country. I don't know how that could
I get what you're saying.
Right?
It's interesting though, because
But no one cares enough to do something like that.
Well, this leads into another point I was gonna ask you, right? Because, okay, so I saw this thing recently. It relates to what you said, where I think it might have been Jeff Bezos or something.
Mm-hmm.
He donated something like $100 million to, I think, charity, right?
Okay.
So help the homeless or something like that.
Right.
And a lot of people got upset because they said when you do the math, it equates to $50 for someone that earns $50K a year. Right?
What is $50? How much he gave?
Yeah, so they're him giving away $100 million.
Oh, that's how he feels. It's like it's like us stealing $50 basically.
Well, he was like, I'm gonna give you guys $100 million,
right,
to help the homeless, right? And people got upset that he didn't give more because they're like $100 million to you.
Yeah, they're equating it to me giving $50.
It's like me giving $50. I think the argument's silly because
it's really silly.
That $100 million is gonna go way further than $50.
It doesn't matter what it's
right?
like to me.
Now, I've heard that argument before where people always get upset when they say, why aren't celebrities or all these rich people fixing some of these issues, right? I kind of have a take where I think that I don't know if I'd want to live in a world where billionaires, let's say someone like Elon Musk, was just you know what? I'm gonna get rid of the homeless issue in the States. And he donates billions of dollars to fixing that. I don't know if I'd want to live in a world where we let someone basically automatically have that much power. Because I think what happens is, what I don't think people realize is, even I said it to myself, if I had a lot of money, in my head, I would say, you know what? I'm gonna fix this issue.
Right.
I'm gonna donate a lot of money, I'm gonna fix this issue. But then I realized as soon as I do that,
you're changing the whole economy.
Yeah, I now have so much social and economical power that is crazy. Imagine you did that. Imagine you, as Ryan, you're like, you know what? Homeless issue's gone in Canada, but you're not part of the government.
Right.
Now people are gonna want you part of the government.
Yeah, you're
right?
a target. You become a target.
You become a target. That's a thing. And I think
it's actually dangerous.
I think there are things set in place. I think a lot of people who are rich know this. I saw Bill Gates.
Oh, they know.
Bill Gates fully said, I think he was asked, would you want to run for president?
He's like, nah.
And he essentially said, nah, because I don't want to be a temp. If I'm a president, I only have 8 years to do what I want to do, and I'm limited by the government.
I call it a temp.
Yeah, when I'm not president, I can do whatever I want for however I want, however long I want.
And even after you leave office, you're still kind of under a scope.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's super interesting. I was like, man, I never really thought of it that way.
What you just said, I never actually thought about either, because if a rich person does do something like that and gets rid of homelessness and poverty, for example, the world will love him in the grander scheme. And the people who love him are the impoverished people, not the rich people.
Yeah, and there's more of the impoverished.
So the less fortunate people will love him for doing something like that, of course, right? But the world is not run by the less fortunate people, which we know that. And the people of power, which is the 1%, they will be very angry at this person.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, the world needs poverty for it to thrive. That's the capitalism of this world. So it's like if someone, he or she, does something so widely beneficial for the less fortunate, that actually will impact the world in a negative way, which is incredible to say.
It's weird.
Because that will just raise everything to accommodate for what that person did.
Yeah.
Like the governments will do something. I don't know what it would be. I'm scared of whatever that would be.
Yeah.
Whether it's mass killings, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like seriously though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if there was no homeless people, everyone just had homes and like one, we couldn't afford to do all that infrastructure wise, building and all that. Like it just to have that many people working, there's not enough jobs per se for like. It's almost like we're overpopulated. The world's already overpopulated. We know that.
Yeah.
So certain things have to exist and continue to exist, or else it will implode. Unfortunately,
it's crazy. You know what's a really good way of thinking about this? I only thought about this because I'm definitely a nerd, but you know how Batman is like super rich by day?
Yeah.
And then at night he puts on his cape, right, to go save the world and all this stuff. He's so rich by day that like all the problems that he's solving when he's Batman are a result of the problems he's created as Bruce Wayne.
As a rich guy.
So it's like this rich guy is like, I've amassed all this stuff that has created all these problems. Now I need to be Batman to fix those problems. And it's like, what really should happen is there shouldn't be a need for a Batman at all. Because essentially the government should set things up in a way where it's like, these are the systems that can help people get out of where they need to get out of. Right? And as you were saying before, it comes back to the whole access thing, right? You've definitely heard that term before. You got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And it's like, some people don't have boots to do this, right? And that's because like, that's the system to do this.
Right.
And it's a real thing. So you're right. Like it's interesting to think about when you hear people say, man, I wish like Jay-Z and Beyonce did this.
They
or like
actually can't do it.
They literally can't. And then the other thing too, if you don't understand business or how money works, and this is interesting becoming an entrepreneur, it's like we hear these people are worth billions of dollars. It's like, that's not all in liquid money. Yeah, I mean, a lot of
net worth.
A lot of that is just their net worth, their assets, everything combined. That's how much they're worth. So it's like Jeff Bezos may be worth, however many billions of dollars. He may only have, I don't know, a couple $100 million in cash, like ready to go.
Right.
So it's very different for that upper echelon of people, but it's a whole different ball game at the same time.
It just sucks that nothing can actually change. Like that's just what it is.
I think what happens is, I'm putting this out there in the universe that yes, I would love to get to a point in my life where I'm so financially rich. Like I want to be rich, right? I want that for myself because I feel like it would affect my friends too and my family. But I'm curious I wish there was a social experiment run on someone. Like I wish someone would run an experiment where they would take someone from the middle class, like regular, not poverty, but like middle class, and then they say, you are now rich for the next year. And they just monitor them. They don't like check in. They just see how this person.
What are you gonna do now?
You know what I mean?
What are you gonna do now?
It'd be interesting. Like I think we all have in our head, oh, I win the lottery, this is what I'm gonna do, this is what I'm gonna do. But the moment the moment you get that money,
what will you really do?
And people also know you have that money, what do you do?
Because it has to be like contingent on if we become rich, everyone knows now, by the way.
Yeah.
Like that has to be a contingency.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna make you rich, this middle class person, everyone knows. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
It's like, can't it just be secretly? No. This is a widespread thing.
Yeah.
You are now a multimillionaire.
Like think about the fact that athletes, everyone knows their business, bro. Like
that is crazy.
Everyone knows.
I think that's the most annoying thing I find about like the NBA so far. Yeah. It's not as much with other sports, but especially NBA.
Well, baseball's pretty bad. Like baseball makes crazy.
No, not the money wise. Like how they market their contracts and stuff.
Yeah.
The NBA abuses people's business like that. Like they will literally make a post like Zamora just signed a 6-year deal for $20 million today.
Yeah.
20 million per year. Like they'll literally blow everyone's like blow up everyone's spot.
Yeah.
Anytime they make any type of career change or get a new contract, and I'm just like, why is that public knowledge? I'm actually generally like, I thought about it before. I'm just like, why do they do that? Because you're actually making his life more difficult.
You might put him in harm's way.
Seriously, no, like that's like, you know what I mean?
Her,
him or her, like why? Like someone signs a new deal. Why are you just saying like, Zamora signs a new contract with the Toronto Raptors? Why are you saying Zamora signs a new contract with Toronto Raptors for a 5-year, $20 million per year? Congrats, Zamora. Like,
you know how this
what
is
do you mean?
Like,
Like,
you know what I'm going to segue this into?
why are you doing that?
You know what I'm going to segue this into?
Yeah.
So it's like, listen, I don't think when it comes to men and female athletes and dating and like just the whole social space, it is so crazy because if you're a male athlete, I'll never forget. I'll give you a prime example. I'll never forget going to ballet in Toronto when it was still popping, and it's a Saturday night,
right.
and I'm in the club. I'm in the club with Chris, and I turn around, and I see Andre Drummond like in the club.
in the club,
right? He's just in the club chilling like with his boys. They don't play. Detroit isn't playing Toronto until Tuesday.
So you came early.
He came early.
Yeah.
Toronto's a city that a lot of NBA players love to come to, right? Because everyone knows, like, Toronto's got some of the best women in the world, like, all that stuff, right? So they love coming here. I'm looking at him, and I'm like, yo, these girls do not know who Andre Drummond is not like.
He's not the guy.
He's not the guy.
No.
He's a sick player, but he's not the guy.
But he's 6'10",
right?
In the club.
6'10", and the other thing they know about him, yes, he's 6'10". He's an NBA player, already piqued your interest. Lastly, all it takes is a quick Google search to be like, oh, how much money does he make?
Right there.
Oh, he's making 100 and something mil?
There.
Let me go talk to him right away.
That's crazy.
And listen, I don't want to hear anyone act like that is not a thing. That happens.
Of course it is.
You don't even know if you like the guy yet. You genuinely don't know if you like him. You just know what he has to offer.
Think about how crazy this is. I can meet you as a guy.
Yeah, regular.
No, you another guy as a guy, like not even as a girl.
Mm.
I can meet you as a guy, and you could be like, oh, I'm Zamora Johnson. What do you do? Oh, I do some stuff. I'm an athlete, whatever. Okay, cool. I can, while we're just talking, whatever, just pretend I'm texting. Google Zamora Johnson and see net worth $65 billion. And I can literally do it in front of your face. You have no idea. And I can change this conversation.
Yeah, right away.
Do you know? Like,
you start changing how you talk to me, how you perceive me.
That's
like everything
scary.
changes.
That's scary.
But how do you think that happens with men towards women? Because, for example, if I meet a woman who I find out is like very successful financially, I think the way that I change is not that I treat her with more respect. I treat all women with the same amount of respect.
But now you're on your P's and Q's, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I'm more on my P's and Q's.
Yeah.
If I meet a woman who's financially like crazy successful, immediately I'm like, okay, like I literally cannot fail at any point in this conversation. And it's not even because I want something from her.
No.
It's just because in my head, it's like, I need you to respect me to some level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's weird. It's weird to say that. I need you to respect me. And
like,
I don't know.
Like, you would have felt better if you were having a conversation with her, conversation went well, and she said, all right, nice to see you. Give me a call sometime, and you left.
Yeah.
And then for some reason you're like, well, let me just Google her name, and you found out she was a billionaire.
Yeah.
After. You'd be like, yo, like, you would feel more confident afterwards because you're like, I was just myself, and I'm glad I didn't know.
Yeah.
Like, until
I didn't
now.
Know this. Like, now I know, or at least, because for me, like you said, I'm not trying to gain anything from you, but there's a part of my brain that would go, if she was to say, oh, like, let's connect on some business stuff, right? But she didn't tell me anything about what she did or how much she made. And then I found out what she does and how much she makes.
Right.
Part of me would go, wow, like, I must be doing something right.
Because I didn't even know, and I just had a conversation with you.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But
versus I'm now tailoring this conversation for you to respect what I do.
Do you think there It probably does happen, but do you think there are guys who react to female athletes the same way that like some women react to male athletes?
Like groupie-ish?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But have you ever seen it?
No,
have
I
you
haven't.
ever seen
I
it?
haven't witnessed it. I mean, like
I believe it
because-
happens. It can't not happen.
Yeah, like
but,
like a Serena Williams or like, you know,
but,
like
but the problem is, the thing is, you know Serena is married though. Like,
no, well, yes.
but that's the thing though. This is what I'm saying because
You're like single athletes.
yes, because with male athletes,
But we
right,
also
regardless of their
time out though. We also talked about this.
yeah.
Single successful women aren't as accessible as single successful men. You can't just walk up to single successful women the same way you can with men.
That's fair.
We talked about this. Remember, like, if a woman's very successful, she's surrounded by a team of people that don't let you just get to her.
Yeah.
Single guys will go out willy-nilly by themselves.
That's true.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's easier for a random basic girl that just has a regular job to meet the celebrity superstar guy at the club, at ballet, at the mall, because guys they're careless. They're just like, oh yeah, I'm rich, but whatever. I'm gonna go to the mall, get my groupie love, like you know what I mean. Versus a woman, she's not just walking to the club. She's not just in the booth by her. Like you're not just getting that convo.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like the groupiness is more just like around her space. If Beyonce pre-marriage, whatever, just comes to an event, you're not talking to her.
Yeah, like no men's are walking up to Beyonce.
You're not getting her. Her security's there. Her girls are there. There's a row of guys like this. There's levels. There's a guy that comes in the club. He's just as rich as Beyonce. Yeah. He's at the front just chilling. Like it's right. You might walk up to her like, oh hey, and then he's talking to you.
I think right. That pretty much answers my question.
We can't get to girls when they're like that.
Because my thing is, even when a dude like
unless you're like that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. Yeah, unless you're like that, I'm not gonna lie and say that all these men are faithful. But it's like even when a guy is married, I've seen it like. Once they know what you are and who you are, they don't even care that you're married. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want to do?
Versus we have almost like a higher expectation or a higher understanding of successful women that are married.
Yeah.
Where like, she's rich and she's married. She's definitely not talking to me. Like, we almost like already like, right, come on.
I think I think it's that in conjunction with, you know what? Like a bit of I hate to go back to like the old way of thinking, but I think the patriarchy and like the way men and women are has something to do with that. Like, I think it's almost like a instinct in my brain where if I see a woman and I think she's attractive, I'm like, oh my God, she's bad. And then the moment I find out she's married, it's like a part of her in my brain just went dead. Yeah. It was just like I'm no longer like attracted to you in that way.
I don't even bother.
You know what I mean? I think you're attractive, but there's no scenario where I'd even go after you.
I don't even see it.
Because I understand you're taken by someone else.
Yeah.
But
at that caliber.
But I don't know. This might be a hot take, but I don't know if that's the same
understanding.
Same understanding for women going the other way. You don't think so?
No. No.
Why do you not think that?
Because listen, first of all, a woman is married. She's not at the club by herself. She's just not.
Okay, but what if she's at the club with her friends? That happens. That happens a lot.
She's at the club with her friends.
Because there are plenty of times where men hit up women and they're like, why are you in the club?
She's married. She's at the club with her friends, but you're not getting to her. That is what.
We're not talking about crazy successful now. Now we're talking about.
Or you're talking about a married woman.
Yeah, now we're going to talk about regular people.
Just a regular married woman.
Because what I said still applies to regular people.
Okay.
I see a woman who's bad, and I find out she's married.
Regular woman, I'm like, married, but you're still like, you're married. Well, okay. So
I can see it changing a little in your head.
It does change.
It does change.
It changes only because there is an influx of married women who are unhappy. Like it's true. So like,
oh my God,
that's the problem, because there actually is an increase of unhappy married women right now that actually go out for attention. So like, they may not cross the line.
I was about to ask, where are you getting these stats? I'm like, where are you getting these statistics? And then I realized you're probably like out here doing your own, what's the word? You're doing your own primary, secondary, and tertiary research. That's what's going on here, right?
Listen, man. I just see stuff. That's all.
Okay.
There are increases of women in marriages that are unhappy that go out now looking for the attention that their husband doesn't give to them. However, the difference is most women are playful in that sense, where they really just, they're going out, they're doing that stuff with their friends or whatever, getting attention from guys, and they generally go home to their husband.
Yeah.
They want to feed out that attention just because they feel like they're missing whatever, but they still go home to their husbands. And the flip side, men actually don't have any type of control if they're married or not sometimes, right? So, you know, that's what I'm saying, when it's it is kind of different when it's regular, because a regular woman, like a guy's not intimidated by a regular married woman as much as they're intimidated by by a successful married woman. Because when a married woman is successful, to a guy, it's like, you definitely don't need me. Like, if you're successful already and you chose to marry somebody, what can I really say to you?
Yeah.
Right? Especially if you, as your own man, know you're not at that level.
Like
right?
you're saying the only way you could approach that woman that might not be successful, that is married, is if you're super successful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? Because like you need chips. Like we need chips because it's like it's not impossible to persuade someone to like you, married or not. We're human, right? A woman can be married, a man can be married, happy in that marriage, meet you or meet a girl, whatever, have a great conversation, and then a little bit of that conversation sparks like, wow, like I know I'm married, but man, there's something about like just that curiosity. But you need some chips because if I'm successful already, like even let's just use me, I'm successful, I'm married to a successful woman. If you are an average girl and you come to me, I'm not even allowing that to like. Why would I even jeopardize that? Yeah. But if you're another highly successful woman, come to me, I'll entertain the conversation. Still faithful to my wife, but do you see? I'm at least I'm okay. You actually have something I can relate with, versus if there's nothing even there, we won't even have that conversation.
That. Yeah, I
right?
understand. Yeah. I mean, just to clarify, we're not promoting.
No,
we're not promoting like any sort of infidelity here.
Love your lives, husbands.
But it is like an interesting thing to think about, right? Especially for those of you who are single, watching the dynamics of, you know, how people interact with each other.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally like the animal kingdom when you watch people.
It is. What can you do for me better? I mean,
Crazy.
You know.
Anyway, I think that's a perfect place to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got some questions that we'll save for next week as well. You guys keep pouring them in. But this was a great talk.
It was. I mean, I'm sure we go through a circle of topics, and it's kind of interesting how this has evolved into just, you know, a discussion venue, discussion place where, you know, there's constant things happening every single day, every year, every month that, you know, we often just overlook or skip or ignore just because it's conversations that we don't necessarily want to have or we're uncomfortable having. But, you know, the joy of having this show and the joy of, you know, working with some more is that like we both experience similar things but differently. So we always have our own takes on things. There are obviously times that we, you know, agree on things as well. But the differing perspectives kind of allows this show to be very fluid, where it's kind of like, there's never really a break. I'm sure you guys know this. There's never really like I have nothing to say. Like it's like if I don't have something to say, he has something to say, and vice versa. So the you know, constant exchange of energy and perspective kind of makes, you know, WTT what it is. And you know, I always love doing this. And I mean, we should be prepping for our live show soon. Yeah. It's December, so we're trying to do something hopefully early New Year to, you know, see some of your guys' faces again. And you know, something about the live shows are just even better than this. It's just like, you know, right now we record, we talk to each other, and we might say a point right now that you guys are like, yo, I want to talk, I want to jump in, and you can't. So your opportunity to jump in is at the live shows where we can, we can say something, and if something stands out to you, you can interject and pause us, and that's kind of, the joy of that. So looking forward to that. But thank you guys for stopping in another week. WNTT. I'm Mr. KOA alongside
Top Boy.
Thank you guys for listening and watching.
Peace.
See ya.
We need to talk.
We need to talk.
We need to talk. We need to talk.